do it for you.
Baby, the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, I mean the floor is yours. If it come down to the floor is yours, let me show you how I prove the floor is yours. 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 The floor, yeah, the floor is yours.
Now it's my turn again.
Hey. Well, what it do? What it do, crew?
Hey.
How y'all doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Marvelous.
Good. You said marvelous. Cool. Welcome. Let's get straight into this thing because it's a hot topic. We know it's probably got a little heat under some people, and some people got a lot to say, and we want to be able to hear all of that tonight. So, welcome to the Floor is Yours podcast. Me and my co-host, we have the Ivy, the conscious creator,
everybody.
and then we have Flex, the Rex, the producer down there at the bottom. And at the end, here you have Icy. And I got them flowers sitting here, because we still gonna get flowers, even though some of y'all gonna be a little tender. We still gonna get these flowers out, okay? So welcome to the Floor is Yours podcast. And as you all know, the topic on tonight. Oh, hold up. What we need you to do first of all is like, share, subscribe on all social media platforms. That means Facebook, IG, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, anything that's got some access to allow anybody to see us. We need you to share that thing, okay? And subscribe to our channel. And even if you come on later and you see this, we want you to still do the same thing. Like, subscribe, share, okay? So now that we've got that out the way, we're going to get into this topic for tonight. And the topic is, should bills be split 50-50? Or should the man provide everything 100%? So we're gonna let Flex play this video to kind of lead us into where we're gonna start to dialogue. So if you're a little tender, get you some tissue. If your emotions gonna get up on you, dust them out for a minute and find your balance and come on back with us, okay? Flex, hit us with this video.
With this generation today, these young boys today, what do she bring to the table? The hell you mean, man? What do your ass bring to the table? You got a woman that can come to the table that can make another you. What else she need to slide up to the table with? What about your job? What happened to men who were supposed to be responsible? Do you know that it's our job to take care of a woman and some children, to have a family? That's our damn job.
But what happens when the woman
There it is. That was the video. Yeah. So I'll go, Misha. I know we had support for you, but I'll just say for me, I don't look at this as necessarily a right or wrong issue, but I think people do need to do what works based off the income that they have and their own goals. Well, when we played the video, I'm just thinking about how Steve is a millionaire. So Steve could take on a lot of responsibilities financial wise that a lot of us couldn't. So he makes that statement as if, hey, that's the way that you should be. And that's what defines a man and how he should take care of his family. And I just want us to consider that. Again, I'm not saying right or wrong, you should or you shouldn't, but you should really consider all those different moving pieces when you're trying to determine like what works for your household. What do y'all think about that?
I agree. I definitely think you should have that conversation prior to getting into the relationship. Because I know a lot of times, people look at what their parents did and then go in that same mindset. So if I go in there like, well, my dad took care of my mom, that's what I'm looking for. So you should have that conversation prior to the relationship. But exactly, you have to do what works for your lifestyle and what you're trying. If you're trying to live that lavish lifestyle, then you have to, you know, have both couples, both parties got to work.
Hey, so real quick, just a personal question for you, Ivory. Are you saying ask the question so you can see if you want to move forward or see how to move forward? Like, is it an automatic no for you?
No, that conversation needs to be had prior to even moving forward, because I may not want to move forward with you. You may not want to move forward with me. So we need to have those conversations, because I hate to get in a situation once we move in and we're on two different wavelengths. We're on two different platforms. So we need to have that conversation before we even move forward. Because it's gonna cause problems.
Yeah, you agree with that? I see by having the conversation beforehand.
I do.
I mean, is it a game changer for you?
Is it a game changer? Like if I don't want to be
like if he's saying, I mean, whether or not you have to help contribute to the bills or not, is that for you personally, is that a game changer or deciding factor?
Either way it go, I know something gonna need. Let me say this: help out. You gotta know that somewhere along the way there may be a time that's gonna need some help out, right? But like she said, it is about discussing how you're moving forward, and then if you make those decisions together. The only time I see where it's a deal breaker is if you change within the circumference when we get into this situation together, and then you flip a script and say, "Oh, I'm gonna need you to do this," or "This is how it's done change." And a lot of that goes to when we making these decisions, like when we want to change shifts. You know what I'm saying? If a shift gonna take $10,000 out the house, excuse my friends, bro, you better stay on the shift. I'm just saying, because you got to look whatever comes like that. Do you have is it a blended family? How is that going to change the dynamic of how the house, is ran and structured financially? Because then you don't want to put more of the load on your spouse when that wasn't how it was, set out to be. So I'm not going to say it's like a deal breaker, but it's definitely going to it's going to put some tension somewhere.
Yeah. And that's a good point you made about blended families, because when, if you've been, a few years on this earth, you probably got some children, and if you've been divorced and remarrying or whatever, you coming in with, baggage, not in a bad way, but some other, things to consider about how to structure this relationship. So I'm thinking, like, if as a man, and I'm gonna make it personal now, if I'm marrying someone who has children, and they're coming into the house, I'm not saying an automatic no on me providing, so there are some factors, can I financially afford it? To how we're going to move forward, how we're going to structure everything. But if I have a wife who has kids from a previous marriage, I think that's something that really weighs heavily on whether she should or should not financially provide for that house.
If she comes in with children? And I'll agree, but it's two sides to that too. She's coming in with children, but no support from the father. Totally different ball game. She can come into the marriage, and then the father is up to par, making sure he's present and he's financially taking care of his child. So it's not putting any load on my spouse to say, "Oh, I need you to be able to provide there." Okay, so it could go that way, and then you have to see those are things you got to talk about too. But I feel like when the parents are in proper perspective, knowing that they're going into a blended family and you've got kids, both have children, then it still doesn't take the responsibility off of my child's father to make sure everything runs, smoothly. Because I'm not needing you to come in to be their father and add it to their life, but not coming over here talking about, you finna drop this bread on each year.
Well, I don't know, because I'm gonna ask Ivory the same question, because if we're coming in it and now I got to get a house that's big enough to fit our needs, there's other expenses too that just inherent with a family under one roof. So even if the other father is financially providing, what do you do with that income? And that's not something that you have to answer right now. But I'm just thinking about that, Ivory. What are your thoughts on that?
So I guess I feel different, because I'm thinking it's no secret that if I had children, from a previous relationship whether their father is present, not present, taking care of them regardless. You know, he already knew what he was coming into, what he signed up for. And I don't think that has anything to do with him providing for the family as if those children were his own. So him providing for the children is not saying that I'm not providing for the children and he's the sole provider. Is just saying that he's providing for his family.
Yeah.
And he's accepted those children as his, because I personally don't want to be with anyone that's going to separate,
right?
Separate my children. So I personally don't want to be with him. So if he doesn't look at my children as his and provide for them equally
right.
as with our children together, or his biological children by someone else, I don't want to be with you.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I guess what I'm thinking is again, as far as the mother pouring into the house financially, should she or should she not in that instance?
I think.
Okay, so now I agree with what now I'm not gonna now I will agree with what she said about accepting the children. We're gonna be this. We're gonna make this family blend. 9 times out of 10, honey, trust me, I've been there. It'll be one-sided, but it don't mean no love.
That's your experience. You said 9 times out of 10. I don't agree with that.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Well, I'm talking about. Well, let me take the 9 times out from my experience, because I do go with mine. From my experience, honey, you can pour your heart out and try to be whatever, but if it ain't in it, it just ain't gonna blend. That's it. But I do, when a woman is in that position, I don't have a problem helping out. Let me say that. But I'm not saying that if I'm needed, then I could be what I'm needed to be. Blended families is a big. I mean, there's a lot to that little scenario, and you got to see what all comes with that. So because I've lived it, it can work out, and then it can't work out. Just depending on where the two people are together. Like you said, depending on how you've set down the structure moving forward for the dynamics of everybody involved, your children, my children, our children, we are together. Then it's going to determine how that lifeline is going to, keep moving. If you're going to have a strong pulse, or you're going to flatline. That's just the truth. But coming into it as a woman, knowing that I can allow my mate to do everything is fine. But knowing that in the aspect that I need to be a helpmate in a proper perspective, I don't see a problem with that.
That's good. So, part of the discussion, I think we need to set the tone, mainly about the financials. Providing is more than financial, but I think that's one of the pillars of the relationship. I want to share this chart right here with everyone. And as I pull it up, just letting you know, like, this chart details the median income by age range across the nation. So just a little context about this. This is everywhere. So whether you're in New York or California or Texas, it's just saying what the median income for the country is. So, you take that for what it is. If you're 30 years old and you make $48,650, it's going to mean different depending on what part of the country you're in. But let's be realistic about this, right? If you're a man, and you're making $50,000 a year, and you have 2 kids and vehicles and car insurance and, just basic upkeep, and the kids are in sports and a number of other things, just food. Is this one income enough? And we know the answer to that is not that it's not. It could be. It's going to be a stretch. But my point is, when people go into these relationships with these expectations, I don't think that most people are being realistic. If their expectation is like, hey, I'm going to marry at 30, 35 years old, but my man needs to take care of everything. If this is what he makes, is that realistic that he'll be able to afford to provide for that household with his income?
So just looking off of this, no. But that doesn't mean that if the wife gets a job, she's going to be making that much too. So if they have 2 children and she gets a job, now there's daycare. That's extra expenses now that they've occurred in that household. Now, when you know you have extra expenses in that household, you're gonna have extra attitudes in that household.
Yeah.
Now you're causing conflict in your situation that did not need to be. So if he was working and he's making 53,000, but she's at home taking care of the kids and doing things, there's not extra income going out. And she's at home, she's creating a environment, she's raising the kids, and they just may have to cut back on some things. But now when she's working, she may not make that much. She got an attitude. Now she got to come home, and that 50-50 ain't really a 50-50.
Well,
because
you got attitude.
She's
you got attitude. Yeah. You got an attitude. You better fix it.
I'm telling you. And he ain't gonna want to fix it because he's not gonna want to come home. So now that's another on top of that, because he's not gonna want to come home.
Yeah.
Did you say if that attitude? She better fix
it.
That's
fix that thing. Don't bring that heat up in here. But I get what you're saying. Okay. My go ahead, I see.
So then if we go with the aspect, let's say she's working and she's about either she's right at his income or she's more than him. So now we have a little bit where the imbalance becomes, right here. It's an imbalance to some, but I'm just saying she's making more money. He still brings his part home. We do have children that are going to go into daycare. Say that he is the sole, he's over there paying all of the bills. Then that part of whatever she is making, bringing home, then that suffices the needs of the children going to daycare. So there's a balance that can come there. So he's still taking care of the household things, and she's just adding her part to take some of the, that extra load because she is making money.
Yeah.
She can, help in that arena. So I think it's about finding the balance of knowing where we need to help each other in the times that we need. That's just the way I see it. Now, if my man can do it all, fine. But I'm gonna definitely be over there doing something with the money that I am making. Okay. I'm gonna be ready to, let's take some trips, plan some trips. All of this stuff right here. At least I know how to structure the money that I am bringing in for our household and our family, so that we're just not that you just out here completely stressed out, and your money is always taking care of everything, but then I go and do what I want to do with everything over here. It has to be just a balance there. What is James? Lord, why did y'all let James get on the book? If Amisha Thomas don't stop tripping, I'll pay the majority. Lord, what did you say? 51-49. Okay, that'll work. What's up?
Hey, that's the majority. So hey, he's a man of his word. So hey, that's what we need on.
And you ain't even true with you, James. You say if the majority work, that's fine. But as long as we can get together and collectively make a healthy decision where we can sustain our family, then it can work. And I mean, how would the church tell you, because they'll say the man and he supposed to provide. Okay, fine. He may provide all the money, but he emotionally missing. So I mean, yes, he torn down. He can't sit down with you. So we'll look at all of that, and then his back broke because he done worked on concrete forever, knees bad. He's stressed too. But hey,
he don't know the kids.
Don't know the kids. So
he don't know the kids.
Yeah. So my point is, let's get to James' comment real quick because I think that's important. James said the pot is the pot, just put into it. Laugh out loud. So he's laughing, but I think what James saying is, let's get an account where we pay the bills out of that everybody's contributing to.
That works. Go down there. Go down to Ron.
Yeah.
Mr. Ron down there.
You want to read that?
He said, flip it. Say there's no kids involved. Are men expected to provide 100% even though she's able-bodied and can work?
Okay, ladies, what say you?
And I don't think that the man being a provider is saying that the woman cannot work. So I'm gonna share. When I got married, my dad told me when I first got married, Ivory, don't buy anything that you cannot afford on your own. This was years ago. Don't buy anything you cannot afford on your own. Years later, being transparent, I'm divorced. and I was able to sustain my same lifestyle. So because on my own, because I didn't buy anything that I could not afford on my own. So it wasn't that, you know, we was putting our money together and, you know, we was living this lavish lifestyle. But even if, and people, when I used to say this, people will always say I was going into the marriage. I was going into the marriage with negative mindset, like looking at it to fail. But I was like, I'm not going to a marriage looking at it to fail. What if he gets sick? What if he get laid off? What if something happens? What if he pass away? I got to still maintain these bills.
Yeah.
On my own.
It's
and good. I don't want to, people coming for my car, my, you know, I can't pay my mortgage. I still have to maintain. So just because the man is providing doesn't mean that I can't, you know.
Yeah. That's good. And so I think a lot of times we limit providing to be financial. And y'all alluded to this earlier. You know, there's other things. You need to be present mentally, emotionally. You know, we talk about security. Security is broad. It's not only financial. So for me, if I'm in a marriage, I'm going to be looking at not just can we pay the bills today, but can we pay them next year? If something happened, you know, we all just went through COVID. You got people who have worked every day of their adult life and went to school and did everything that the you know, the experts say that you should do so that you're a productive citizen. And they was out of work, you know, because of COVID. So anything can happen. So my point of saying that is this: if I'm providing, I'm also thinking about in the future, what if something happens to me? Do we have a nest egg that at least can get you through a few months, you know, until you figure out what's next? Whether it's me no longer here on this earth, or injury or illness, or if we get divorced, right? Worst case scenario, you should want her to be, you know, in a good space. But if we are wasting 10, 12, 15 years of her making money and being able to do whatever she want to do with it, and then now I'm having to bust my butt at 70, 75, 80 years old because financially we're not there where I don't have to work, you know, hard. Now that leadership that I didn't provide is starting to take form, and I think it's incumbent on us when we had a conversation, like you said in the beginning, Ivory, to start talking about what are our goals, what are we looking to be in 10 years, you know, 15 years. And you got to take that into account. If I'm only paying bills and the only one paying bills and she's not, what are you doing with your money? And I think that's a fair question. Somebody said on here spending it, you know, but you know, that's the easy route. But honestly, and I'm not talking about you two ladies, but if that's your dynamic in the relationship where the guy is paying the bills and she's working or whatever, has money coming in, what is she doing with her finances?
Right. And I think, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, maybe if the man is paying the bills, you know, she's paying like groceries, you know, different for the kids' activities, you know, other things around the house, and or trips, you know, if she is working, so, or putting her money into the savings so they can have her money for savings and his money, you know, for bills.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, money is so, people don't want to talk about money, but that's what you need to talk about before going forward in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know.
And see, that's exactly what I was saying, you know, prior to when ahead of time, when I was talking about that, about, hey, put the money back. So when things do occur, you know, you have a nest egg there. And like you said, COVID was a prime example. Of course, during that time, I was divorced, but still coexisting, you know, but I was when I did leave and separate, I can say that I was financially able to maintain, you know, going back out on my own. The only dynamics is just, you know, I probably took on the bill because, of course, when you want to go moving forward, you might get new furniture, like a new bed, you know, things that bring the marriage together. And you leave with some debt sometime that you didn't have before when before you got married, and that's fine. But I was still able to be sustainable, you know, during that process. And then, like you said, everything that was going on, if you save your money just right, it helps you in the long run. Even when you decide you want to move to a whole nother city, guess what? And you don't got to do nothing for 3 months. That means somewhere along the way you learned a lesson in the marriage. leaving it and understanding that, you know, your priorities were in the right place to know, to be able to say, if something was to go wrong, I did have a nest egg that was in place to say, if he can't, you know, be sustainable here, I can at least help out. And sometimes I think it's hard for men to ask for help, especially the ones that want to be the 100%, you know, provider. But when things get a little crunch time, it's that ego or that pride that will not allow you to be the helpmate that you can be because of how they've been groomed, you know, through the church or whatever. But at the end of the day, a helpmate is a helpmate in whatever situation, whether I help you get your emotions together, or I help you sustain the household functions, or I help you know that we can take a trip and it's going to be all right and we ain't going to miss nothing to eat. Let the woman be able to help you.
That's good. So we got a few comments. Let's jump to some of these. T. Will, appreciate your Superman. He said the right to is greater than one. Yeah, you're right. You know, and that's in everything.
Oh, I like that.
Make sure that
say it one more time.
The right to is greater than one, but you know, you just got to make sure that you're yoked up with the right person. You know, sometimes we jump in, and to Ari's point earlier, we don't have these conversations where we're literally vetting these questions, right? In these scenarios, like you have to ask the question and have a conversation ongoing about it so you can understand. Because, you know, we talked about this on the past show. I see in the beginning, man, a lot of men bring a representative. You know, they tell women what they want to hear, and it's not necessarily how they truly believe. And asking the right questions can let you know if they really have the pieces in place to be what they're telling you at that moment. So.
And women too, child. You know, we so fine, honey, and can men get caught up in them looks, baby. They be like, "Oh, wait," and then she over there.
We got another one from Jay. You want to take this one, IC?
Financial goals. I'm sorry. You said IC.
No, go ahead,
baby. Hey. We is in this thing together. Go ahead and read.
I didn't know you go ahead. Comments. My bad. I didn't know you just.
Go ahead. Financial goals have to be discussed up front. Where there's total commitment and purpose, success, happiness lives. Yeah, that's true. And you have to.
And I don't feel like we answered Ron's question.
Well, let's finish this one, then we'll jump on this one. Okay. So you're right. Where there's total commitment and purpose, success and happiness lives. And that's the thing. Like when we're coming into these relationships, how committed are you really? You know, just think about this. And here's a scenario I'm gonna paint. You're with somebody and you find out that they've been secretly keeping a nest egg for just in case, you know, something happens and y'all not together anymore. I don't think that's true commitment. Now, you know, there's ways I think you could potentially set up, you know, finances should something like that. But I think if you're committed, you know, and the true understanding and definition of what commitment means, that you know, it's closely tied to purpose. And then to his point, you can have a success and happiness.
And I also think, like, you know, we're looking into it like, you know, the women is, you know, hiding their money, got a nest egg, they saving up, you know, just so they can lead a man. But, you know, but I think that one, we got to choose the right person. That's first of all, we got to choose the right person, and the right partnership or commitment. That woman is going to have that man's back.
Right.
That, you know, so you know who you know who you with. You know that if my man is paying all the bills, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna have my man's back. He don't have to say nothing because I'm gonna have his back.
You don't have to
like
say
what?
You don't have to say a word.
What do you mean you have his back? How?
I mean, first of all, I'm gonna make sure, like, if we got children, I'm gonna make sure the house is taken care of. I'm make sure, you know, he don't need for anything. Because if I'm not working, I'm not going to be sitting around. And even if I am working, I'm going to take care of his needs, you know, on the back end. If he's paying the bills, we're a team. He don't have to say, well, you got a stash hiding in the back. You got a separate account. He don't have to worry about that. So
when are you saying, so what about like insurance or utilities? Are you saying you'll put in on that part? Or are you saying he's paying everything that has a dollar sign attached to it?
It depends on what he wants to pay for. Like it depends on what we discussed prior. Like it depends on what he wants to pay for.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be like, well, nah, you got it. You the man, you got it.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
depends on what he pays for. Now, if he's paying, you know, the mortgage and the car notes and things like that, yeah, I'm gonna pay the electricity bill. You know, I got that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna get the groceries and things like that.
Okay.
But daycare, if I'm, you know, especially if I'm working, I'm not gonna say no, babe, I ain't doing
Yeah, you're just
that.
gonna stack your money over there and buy Doonies
I'm
and
gonna stack my
Louis.
money, and you know, just in case I gotta exit, I'm good.
Hey, somebody want to take this one right here?
If the man is providing, the woman should want to save for hard times. In the times that we're living in, no one should be sitting at home while the other person is at work. Now, I know when we say sitting at home, it depends. If they ain't sitting at home doing nothing, I guess that's where we're coming from. Because it's a lot of sitting at home people making good money. You know what I'm saying? So I guess if they're not doing anything, that statement makes sense. Because you do have people that do work from home. You got entrepreneurs that make money on this internet, you know, making money. So in the event that they are not doing anything, you're right. Should want to save for hard times. In the times that we're living in, no one should be sitting at home while the other person is working. And then you got to look at it like this too. Say the other person is sitting at home. Say they getting workman's comp. They may not be physically working, but they got money coming in. So it's still another side to that.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
I think the idea of this though is people that don't want to.
Oh, he said if they're not doing anything. Yeah, if they're not doing anything, that's something that they have to. If he comfortable with that and that's what rolls for him, then of course, you know, that's how he chooses to set it up. But if we want to make it together, then somebody would get to the place of saying, you know, let me find out, do something.
Yeah, I like my boy Kenna. Appreciate you tuning in, brother. But he's what we talked about earlier, that everybody's contributing in some form or some fashion. So he said, agreed. One covers the bills and the other for retirement, saving, and investments. This covered the present and the future. So again, as I stated earlier, if I'm providing, it's more than, in my mind, it's more than just financials. Like
it's more than financial. I'm telling you, yes, it's more
right. I said that earlier.
Yeah, it's more than financial. And I'm telling you, like, and let me tell you, I work, okay? So don't think I'm gonna sit down. Ain't nobody here taking care of me. But you know, I think that if it makes sense for your situation, and sometimes you have stay-at-home moms and it works good for their situation, and they want someone at home to raise their children, and that works. So I don't know that works.
Yeah. And he went on to say 3 accounts, you know, is how he does it. Joint for bills, then each a separate account from different financial institutions. So, you know, that's another way that you can set it up. I know I've heard couples say that they want their own account because they don't want to feel like that they're being watched or, you know, spending being, you know, scrutinized and whatnot. So, you know, to your point, talk about it, which kind of alludes to this next one from Donisha. Appreciate your comment. She said, true, because when I quit my job for school, she said I paid all bills for a year to help him out, and it doesn't, and that it doesn't be stressful. It has to be talked about. You know, that goes that conversation. Right? Yeah, you got to have a conversation. You got to have a communication, and then dissect that thing. Don't just say, "Hey, can I pay the bills?" or "Can you pay the bills for me?" And I say, "Yeah, let's talk about what that looks like." Like you got to put this stuff down on paper, right? I'm old school. I got to write it down. You know, not it's just a dream and a talk. Let's write it down. Let's talk about the ins and outs, what could happen, you know, probable. And because if not, you just try to do that so that you don't get caught off guard by some unexpected or unprepared by something that's unexpected.
He said things are so expensive right now. It takes 2 people to get it.
Yeah, you skipped way on down there, but we're good on that.
Yeah, and I also think that if you're so focused on the money, then you're just going to stay together just for the money.
Yeah, yeah.
And you just going, because now it's just easier, you know, because both of y'all going to kind of pocket money.
Yeah.
And now you're staying together because, like, I don't want to, you know.
And that's the main thing, right? Like if your immediate needs aren't taken care of, like you can put yourself in a worse situation. Now, I'm not talking about physical abuse, but if y'all not getting along and you know what, financially, it'll be a struggle to put you in a worse situation. Hey, you might have to have an adult conversation and like, hey, let's wait, let's pace ourselves, let's try to figure out, you got to be in a mature space to do that right there. But I think the first order of business is to try to get along, because you're right, things are expensive, and it's hard to even talk about other stuff when you can't even, pay for the roof over your head or keep the lights on or pay for the water, right?
And that goes back to scaling back. When we were young, we wanted to pop our collar, buy all these clothes, and some of us don't even need no more clothes at this point, unless you done lost weight and you need a whole new wardrobe. All that extra stuff ain't necessary. You can look at some of the bags sitting in your closet, all these shoes and stuff like that, where we really don't manage. And then I wanted to add this part too with your spouse. If you have an entrepreneur for a spouse like me, I worked, but I also had to pay to pay where I worked at. So that means weekly I had to pay. So I wasn't just, I'm just making money, so you should save. No, there's other things that come out of the money that I work for too. I have to pay to go work somewhere versus somebody that's getting a check just to show up and make it. There's a lot of dynamics, to spouses that are, self-employed, because sometimes they have to pray for brick and mortar to go work somewhere, or that's another overhead. So basically that's another mortgage, almost indirectly, and then buying products. So that's another bill that comes out of that. So it's finding that balance to say, I'm making money just like you, and you may not be putting anything in the pot, but I am putting back for savings. And sometimes you got to figure that out, because that can be a little tender spot too, because you feel like, oh, we're both paying bills. You may not be, contributing on my end, but I'm still paying bills too, whether I've got my own car. No, before I got with you, that's my
But
bill.
I would say this though, I see, if you're saving, are you saving for yourself or for y'all both future? So that's the thing. So I agree that savings needs to happen, but it needs to be strategic, and it needs to be a way that, like, hey, you're not just, we're not living and struggling right now, just to try to have a couple $1,000s later. Like, I think it needs to be a plan that maximizes the money now, whether it's investing, learning new skill sets so that we can increase our own value so we can bring in more money. And so when I'm talking about leadership and leading and providing, I'm talking about all those aspects. Like, let's sit down and see, like, what are you good at? What am I good at? Can we all start our own business, somehow, some way? What are we doing tax-wise that we can, offset some of the, what we give to the IRS? But there's a number of things that I think that we should do. But to this question, why do people get ashamed when talking about money? I think a lot of that shame comes from just we're not as financial literate as we should be.
Right. We're not educated.
Right.
Yeah.
All we've seen is the struggle with money from whatever was presented to us as a child. Moving forward, whether who the people you hung around, it like you said, we weren't educated. Because trust me, the 21-year-old me, if I could go back to the financial aspect of that, but we didn't have the avenues, or it wasn't presented to us, property and all of those different things. Child, I'd have had me so many, Airbnbs and duplexes, and I live in one, rent one out, and the other little set over there, so we didn't have those things, and it wasn't presented because, hey, it wasn't. But now it's a whole nother market, a whole nother level to do things. And that doesn't mean it still can't be done, but you definitely have to have the mindset to come together to say, honey, we can do some things, differently. Even if we started out a little rocky and we didn't know anything then, there's too much out here now that will get us to a better place of being able to be sustainable together and make this thing work to the end.
And that's what I was saying, like, choosing your mate, properly, because it's so important, who you're with, who you're choosing, and to have these conversations, because we shouldn't be ashamed talking about money, because I'm gonna find out anyway. We're gonna find out anyway. So you might as well just tell me in the beginning, because it's gonna come out. Either I'm gonna be bad at it, you ain't got none, it's gonna come out. These creditors gonna call something. So
absolutely,
it's gonna come out anyway.
And I think it's a pride thing, being ashamed about it is a symptom of pride. And to your point, it's going to come out. But honestly, if you're not financially savvy, and I'm talking about someone who hasn't conquered their pride, might be a little immature in a relationship, if you're not good at managing your money, I could see you getting, just say, I just remember years ago, in my young days, I didn't manage my money well, and I was in the negative, doing these, overdraft.
Overdraft.
Yeah. and then go out and get a payday loan to try to cover the negative. Now that payday loan come due, and it's taking my whole dang check, and then I'm just in this cycle of just dysfunction and mismanagement of money. So it would, I remember being able, when we was at Hood, they had all these programs that teach you how to better manage your money. I was ashamed that I had to go there one time, but I had to go because I asked for I can't remember what it is, one of those loans where they give you to help you with financial, whatever it is that you're going through. But I had to sit down and explain, that I had went in an overdraft and they had told us to stay away from no payday loans, but I went and did it anyway. And I did it for over 3 months, where literally just, paying it right back, and then going to another company and getting it and using that
to pay them back.
Pay that back. So it can be embarrassing, but it's one of those things like, man, hopefully that you and your mate got enough trust and support that she don't shame you or make you feel guilty. Now, take the medicine. She probably, or he's not gonna be happy about you doing it, but more than hearing them critique you and fuss at you about it, like, how do we move forward, right?
Yeah, but then you just work on whoever's strength and weakness. Like if I'm bad at money, then show me how to do it, or you or my husband or whoever manage the money.
Yeah.
Don't shame me. Show me how to do it. Show me how to manage it. Show me what I'm lacking.
So that's good. Like, say one may be financially stable, everything's good. Then, my money saved up, but my credit might not have been the best. But if your credit is good, then what do you do to help me get to that place of getting my credit? So like you said, again, working to build each other up. I may be strong in saving, but the credit was jacked up before I got with you. But if you help me find the rhythm to this thing and we work it out together, we'll balance this thing out. We'll have the credit and the
I'm just gonna tell you, I see. Don't worry
about
about your credit. Just give me your money and we good.
Okay,
What you think about that? So, hey, Cody, appreciate the comment. She said, as a high income earner, I just want a man to lead. Let's give our all together, build together, love unconditionally and together. And that it takes maturity. So, if you ever been without, ever lacked, and ever, worried about where your next meal come, it's some things that you're gonna have to heal on, or address before you get into that relationship. Just to go in it and say, like, now I got some money, now I'm ready for a relationship. Sometimes you're gonna have some unchecked traumas there. So I think it's important to deal with that. But she's right. She says she want the man to lead. Can I go ahead?
Let me ask you something. Now, I mean, I'm just asking the question. Let me ask you something. For long term, could you respect your man? So if she's paying all the bills, because she says she's a high income earner, he's leading. He's leading in the relationship, but I don't know if he's not working or anything like that.
Yeah. I think he's working
for long term. Like, how long would she continue to? Would she respect him? Would she still respect him?
I think if the respect is built off the money, then you're doomed anyway. It's going to be something later on that tears y'all apart, because respect should be, I don't think it should just be solely based on the financials. Now, if I'm a low earner because I'm lazy and complacent, then that's one thing. But if, just say I'm operating, and we gave this scenario a lot, what if I'm a chef and I make 45, 50 grand a year, and I got a nonprofit where I feed the needy and I invest my money and I manage it well, and I'm bringing in other income, but she's making 6 figures. I think in that scenario, that couple could do better than two couples, or a couple where both people are making 100,000, but their man is mismanaging his money. So that respect, if it's solely tied to the wage, I think it's doomed anyway.
And I asked that because I've had several conversations with my friends, and they base the respect off of money. Yeah. And so that's why
that's our society, right? We will overlook some of the most horrible behavior just because celebrities, got the money. If we honest about it, right? Yeah. So here's Superman.
Yeah, because it was a girl on I did see something on TikTok, and she was saying, if you making all the money, she said, honey, your man is jealous of you, and he don't really, he's jealous and he mad because you're bringing in more money and all of these different things. So like you said, how does he feel? Does it make him feel less than a man?
Mhm.
And I don't think it, like you said, if we take I make more money than you, what about what do we do with what we got? You know what I'm saying? Because 9 times out of 10, well, let me take the 9 times out of 10. In this day and time, some women do make way more money. But that I've seen women do it and be successful, but that didn't take away from their husband.
Mhm.
He supports whatever his income is, which I'm pretty sure is pretty good. It may not be where hers is, but they still do family dynamics. They still make it work. I feel like from what I see is that there's a level of respect, and it doesn't demean him because that's not the way she treats him.
Mhm.
Just knowing that she makes more money than him, she still consider him to be the man. We just out here building.
Yeah.
We just out here building. Now I may be bringing a little bit more money to make these bricks fall a little faster to build this thing up. But
I think it just depends on the couple. Cause when I was
Absolutely.
married, my wife, she made more than I did. But to your point, what did I do? I already had a home, so she moved in with me, and I was pretty responsible with my money, and job paid well, so we never wanted, and money was never an issue. We had other challenges or whatnot, but I think to what we said earlier, if we base in respect, and we are a society that does that, when we base respect on how much money they make, not saying that money is a non-issue. That's why I said earlier, why? Is it lazy and complacency that got someone not earning as much as they potentially could? I got an issue with that, right? But that's for each couple to determine, like, hey, if they want to take that. So Superman said, once you join, then everything is we. He said, our account, our cars, our money, and our etc. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And then once again, too, like I said, with that blended family, you got to even if he taking care of all the bills, he got child support off in there too. I mean,
that's it.
So Kendra said, well, who's this? This Terrence or Ron said facts. He's responding to Kendra. He said, build that strong foundation for the present and the future. And you're right. So sometimes we're so focused on what's going on right now, which the now is important. But if we're honest, a lot of the now with some people is simply to go out and show off to other people. Like, look what I got. Look who I'm married. Look what they're doing and all that. So totally overlooking and neglecting what's going to come. So to your point again, what we said earlier, providing is more than just financial. It's that vision. And I seen that video on Facebook that talked about if you give a woman, money and that she'll multiply whatever you give her, she multiplies it. So if you're working in tandem and unison with each other, to T. Will's point, it's not my money and your money, it's our money. And what are we doing to ensure that we both are financially stable as we age? Because again, no one wants to be working their butt off at 65, 70 years old, right?
Some people do try to stay on their job till they can't.
Yeah. Well,
Chloe, cool girl, I'm talking about Chloe. She said 6% of American families make over $100,000 a year. I'm blessed to be able to say I do, and I have a business on the side. But it was also a time where I had nothing. Money doesn't equal respect with me. The woman I am, a man will want to match my fly and come up to my level, if not exceed my level.
Yeah. And I think, and that's a totality coming up to her level, not just the financials,
Right.
because, man, this, if we're just being honest about it, when you're in an area with limited jobs, if you got one of the jobs that pays well, I mean, but your requirement is that you date someone that makes your money, the same money that you make, I mean, you might be in trouble, right? There's this statistic, and it's kind of off topic right here, but it says that 10% of Black men make 6 figures or higher. And out of that 10%, only like 3% of that 10% are like the high 6 figures, like $500,000 or more. So most of that 10% is $100,000 to $200,000. So if you got 10% of black men that make that money, that make six figures, but the majority of women are going after that elusive, rarity, then out of that 10% of men, how many of them are married? Then you go on there that he has to be so.
How many want us?
How many want two, right? How many? That's two. Then you put height requirements in there and all the religion and passions, and there's a number of things that just make that list like this small. So that financial piece, man, we lead with it. And again, I don't want to thumb my nose in it and act like it's not important, but I think we really need to take it into its proper perspective and realize what we said earlier. Money don't mean respect, because I know a lot of wealthy, not known personally, but celebrities and rich people that, man, they raggedy. They are raggedy. So
yeah, they got what they said, they got you taken care of, but then they sure ain't taking care of your heart, child. They got everything going on under the sun, child. You just broke down in your
Hey, appreciate the comments. Hey, you remember this right here? Kenneth talking about it was the AER loan. I do remember that. He said now financial literacy is required for promotion. So it's an understanding, I guess, for the soldiers too, to make sure that they're fully equipped. Because family is a big thing, financial is a big thing. How productive could you be as a soldier if your family is at home struggling, right? So
right. I remember even move off post. I remember at Hood, I first had to move off post. We had to go through a financial class, and she told me I couldn't afford a hamburger at McDonald's after I paid all my bills.
Hey, that was me. True story. Just being transparent. I remember when my daughter mom moved with me in Fort Hood, and I wasn't getting the BAH. I was proactive. Y'all come on down here and you get a job. And, man, I was a little specialist struggling, and this is no lie. I remember it was some change. We was moving the furniture, and I heard some change rattle. So one day the chow hall, they closed, and I didn't have anything to eat. So I remember that change. I went and turned that couch sideways. Let that change drop up out of that bug, and that's when they still had 99-cent burgers. I went and bought that burger. I had some bread. I took one patty off for me, gave a patty to my daughter, and some other separate bread, and we shared that little small fry. And that was our meal.
The struggle was real.
Yeah, it was real. The struggle was real. But guess what I did?
But you made it happen. You made sure both of y'all ate.
You could have ate it in the car, but you gave it to your family.
Hey, while she was at work that night, she didn't even know I was home struggling, but I was a leader, and no one would ever question me in that aspect. Now, you can question my decision making in it and which way I went, but that leadership in providing for a family, again, I'm gonna say it probably 2 or 3 more times before we end this show. It's more than financials, and one thing that they never knew is that I was struggling like I was, so yeah. What Corey said about Biggest Smalls right here: more money, more problems. Yeah. The old saying though that money ain't everything, but they ain't sure pay the rent though. So I'd rather have it than not.
Child, it sure get you something.
Yeah. What else? A couple more, and then we're gonna go to Here Run. He said Carly pretty much just stunning on us all.
She came back to Run. She said, "No, sir, not at all." She said, "I came to the South with nothing."
And good friend Shalonda Goodward. I don't know if you remember her, Ivory. She was in 720th with me too. She was down there. She knows some of the struggles we went through, and we've talked about them. So again, even if financially you're not where you want to be, making the right decisions, being more financially savvy with your money, and reaching out for help. I mean, we can't be so proudful that we can't reach out to people when we actually need help. I mean, I saw a post a few weeks ago that said that I shouldn't use my money to get what I want, but use everybody else's money to get what I need. Yeah, so I remember a couple of days when I didn't make the best decision. I wanted some Jordans, or those Gary Payton shoes. I went and bought them, and knowing that I had about 5 more days left to payday, and I suffered. I didn't have to do that many times before I fixed that one, but yeah, that money.
Yeah, we don't all made some little wretched wrong decisions. You know what I'm saying? Be like, girl, you didn't need that, and then next week rent due. Well, Lord, then we'll be like, oh, I'll just pay a little bit and then I'll try to beat it before the 10-day grace period. That was back in the 20s. You know what I'm saying?
So I just want to ask one more
But-
question before we let IC do the love note.
Child, I ain't got no love note. Y'all better get
You
it
will.
together.
Is it right to teach your kids that this is a requirement that the men pay the bills?
Me personally, I don't think to teach them is a requirement, but to educate them on to how to manage their finances. So that's what I would teach. That's what I'm teaching. Because I wasn't taught credit and managing bills and things like that. So just so they can able to sustain this, like my dad told me, make sure don't get nothing that you can't afford on your own. So just to make sure they understand credit, make sure they understand savings, and so they can sustain on their own if need to be, and together as a team.
Thank you for putting that. Yeah.
But not as a requirement, because I don't know what's going to work for their situation once they get into a situation.
What you think, IC?
Yeah, that required word is a lot, but it be a suggestion. Look, thankfully my daughter has been married going on 4 years, but when she got with her husband, he was already prepared to set the foundation for them. And that was a good thing. Now, there were some areas that she was probably not educated in as far as the credit and all of that, but he brought her to that level. He began to start taking money out of her check for her and will put it in an account for her, because she doesn't buy herself anything. She's very frugal on money, but he may want something over here. And he loved that about her, where he might have been the big spender and she wasn't. She was all about making sure, even if I didn't know how, I knew we needed to have, even if I didn't have it to do then, because she was living on her own. So, and he stayed with his mom until they got married, and she had been out on her own for 8 years. So she knew the ups and downs of how, a job can, not pay you enough. But from that angle, it's about making sure that you sit down and let the man set the foundation. Because so many times we go into marriages and the man does not set the foundation. More of the time, sometimes women are taking the lead in my generation. You or whatever you say, you just go into it, and you want to know what he has in place for you all together and how you sit down and mesh those things in. So, honey, I was guilty of that. I just wish, hey, I don't want to have to make all the decisions or put everything on front. I want to know your mindset, how you think, or that this should be for us, and whatever tweaks we need to do it. I want you. So it even about taking the lead. I just want you to set the foundation for us, and I can roll with you. But give me something. Don't make me be the one to always have to make the plan or figure it out or structure it. What can I get from you to be able to say, okay, I can I understand where you're coming from, and we can go this way. So yeah. So I wouldn't say a requirement, but I would definitely suggest that you sit down. I'm probably going into the love note. There you sit down. Yeah, I feel like that's where I was going. But anyway,
So Shalonda says,
y'all backed up.
Yeah, she said, I teach mine to be financially literate, and that's kind of what Ivory talked about. You're right, and if you're financially literate, I think a lot comes with that. And part of that is being a good team player. Teaching it as a requirement. I think I'm not going to put the word wrong, and I'm just careful about doing that, because it depends on your culture. It depends on your expectation, your situation. He might need to be, because of a certain situation. But I think examining your situation and its truth, and not trying to live based off what society says or what you think your family and friends might think about your mate. I think not doing that is better than considering all these other things that mean nothing at the end of the day. You want to take this one, I see?
Mr. Killer said within the next 2 years, it would be a different playing field when it comes to finances, literacy, investments, etc. The digital ID, FD, Fed now, and who is about to shock the world. I just want to call him privately and see if he could just.
But he's right. What we knew a year ago, not 5 years ago, what we knew 6 months ago, things have changed. You look at the 401k, the moves you're making for retirement, it could be totally different. So, you know,
Yeah, by the time you retire, it could be nothing.
so when you put it in the context of the topic today, you know, is it 50-50 or 60-40 or 100%? I believe that in some form or fashion that everybody need to be vested in their living situation, their relationship, whatever, if you're dating or married. If you're not vested, you know, just think about what we've been taught from the point of the age of understanding. If we're not contributing into something, you know, think about when you got your first car. Versus if you bought it yourself, I'm sure you probably felt a lot, you know, stronger about it and taking care of it better than if someone gave it to you. And that's a pair of shoes or whatever. I think the Bible says that where your treasure is, so is your heart. If you're not looking at your relationship as a necessity to invest in, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. Again, if I'm putting my time, my money, my energy, my emotions, my just my passion into that relationship, into that household, I'm going to care about it more. But if I'm only sitting there and letting somebody else pour into it and I get to do what I want to do with mine, I don't think I'm going to be as vested in that relationship as I could be if I was investing in it. Just my thought.
Yeah. Good dialogue.
And last, before we shut it down, she said we tend to give our kids everything we never had. Oh man, but knowledge is more important to pass on. That's how we build frugal children. Amen. Amen. Yeah. World Health Organization. Oh, okay. He was giving those terms right here. I see. What you got for us?
Oh, yeah. Got to get back in the vein. But anyway, you know, we on this 50-50. I do you said something closer to the end. It was about basically where we are now. It takes two people to keep the family going. And whatever your contribution is to that, we need to be doing something together. And like you said, it may be 70-30, it may be 50-50, it may be 60-40, 80-20. Whatever is cohesive for your family, that's all we can say is do what's best for you and your family. And we all know that could be different because some people are now to a place that's different now that they're empty nesters. They don't have to worry about, taking care of children anymore. They do make a sound foundation for their grandchildren, things like that. But they don't have to worry about all the extra expenses. So we got different brackets that we all in. You got people that are just starting out, being married, freshly married. They don't have children, or somebody's married now and a baby's been conceived. And so now they have to think about that. But everything still is a structure before you, or it should be a blueprint and a structure before you proceed forward in what areas, if you want to have children, how you want to, where you want to be in the next 10 years, how you going to be, what time you going to retire, you feel like retirement is going to be for you. So it's definitely an open line of communication. And I feel like we fail in that department. We have failed in that department for a very, very, very long time. And a lot of it is because we have not been taught. Some people may have been, some people haven't. Some people learn from their trials and error to get it right the next go around, and they learn from it and they're doing better. But at the end of the day, you still have to do what's best for you and your partner, your union, and your family. We can sit here and talk about our experiences, what we went through, our failures, our successes, but that was what we went through. You have to do what is cohesive to how you want it to be, how y'all want to thrive together. And that's basically it. This ain't no long drawn out love note. It's just about getting together on one accord. And if something comes through to interrupt the plan that you had, be able to sit down, restructure the plan, do it like you would for your job. We put so much effort in making sure that we make people money and that their numbers is right and that they business stay afloat because we work for them, but we don't put that same energy into our own relationships and household structures to do the same thing. We'll make them so much money, honey. And then in the end, we over here won't even take the time out to say, you know what, how can we restructure this? How can we change the numbers? How can we make this area a little bit stronger so that we in the end yield a different return at the end of the year for the next year? I went all the way corporate right there. See, but that's what you need to do. That's what we need to do. And that's all I'm saying. Mine has been learning through trial and error. I may have gotten the best of the knowledge now, 50 and single, but guess what? Baby, I got it. And moving forward, oh, it's going to yield a good return, properly in order with, my little boo thing, whoever that's going to be. I mean, at this point, I really don't know. But anyway, I know we're going to be all right, because at the end of the day, I'm open to being able to sit down. It's not a hard discussion anymore, because now I'm mature enough to know, to mentally say, hey, it's okay to sit here and say, let's see what he has. I don't have to be this strong, independent woman as we've been taught to always feel like we just got to have that little masculine energy up front. But to be able to say, in the end, to ask questions, where do you need me to help you? What do you need from me? Because we won't ask that question either. What do you need from me? And I feel like we'll work itself out. So sit down and have the hard conversations that can become easier, and the flow can go just the way it needs to be if we collectively learn how to allow the man to set the foundation, sit down with him. And if the big breadwinners, hey, let that man find his place in your life. Don't we're not trying to hold money over your head, because sometimes you got women that do that. I make all this money or whatever, and you can make him feel belittled. But find what works for you. That's all I can say, because that's all we got. That's all I got. Just find out what works for you, because that's what's gonna work for you. Either it's gonna work or it ain't. But don't take somebody else's life and mold it and try to make it yours, because that what worked for them may not work.
Ooh, that was the perfect ending. Don't take nobody else. That's it. That's it. Miss Ira, I know you got something.
She said it all. She said it all. No, I think that you just had those conversations prior, and don't be so. I don't want to say desperate, but it's okay if it's okay if that's not your cup of tea and you don't agree with it. It's okay not to be in that relationship. And then if you do want to, and you go forward in that relationship, it's okay to change it and adjust it. You came in it as 100%, and the man was going to take care and provide. But you know what? It's not working for your household. So let's adjust. It's okay to adjust. So he doesn't have to feel so pressured. Like, I said I was going to do it. He said he was going to do it. So we can't go back on it now. It's okay to adjust. You have to work. You have to do what works best in your household. And like you said, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. You got to do what's best with work in your household.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good. I can't miss this right here. This from my good friend Ira, his best friend Rashida. She said, I'm ready for Black folks to get along. This gender war role thing is keeping us as a community divided at the end of the day. I'm curious as to how often this discussion is had in other cultures. And that's a good point. When you look at, part of it, I will say this, it is had in other cultures. I don't think it's as divisive as it is in ours, but I will say this and hope this gives people a ray of hope. I believe that the overwhelming majority of our people want to work together. They want to team up. They want to be good teammates and partner up and have successful relationships. The challenge is, how do you go about that, because of the inherent trauma that comes with in our community. I think what happened is you got some loud, boisterous people, and those are the one that talk the most and are the face of the community, if you will, on social media. But I don't think in no way, form, or fashion do they represent the majority of what we see, or experience in our own community. You got the red pill, the blue pill, and passport bros, and all these other things that are responding to the hurt that they've experienced. But again, I think if they expanded their own reach, if you will, or their got outside of their own, familiar zones, that they will see more functioning ladies, like the two that I'm sharing the screen with right now. And I had a talk with a friend 2 Sundays ago, good friend, and he was like, "Man, where are the good women at?" And I was like, "Man, they're out there." He was like, "I don't see it." And I was like, "Bro, you just in the wrong market." And he told me what he was experiencing at that moment, and I had to ask him, like, what makes you stay in that market where you're dealing with those kind of people? So, Ivor, you said this earlier, pick your mate. Be diligent, ask the questions, but pick your mate in a way that reflects, good values and the principles that you will be proud to share and talk about. Money, not who I could go back and show off because it looks good on paper to my friends and family. So to Rashida's point, they're out there. The people that misrepresent the culture, they are out there and they're loud, but I don't think that they are the majority. And I'm encouraged with that truth right there, that we can do better. We'll keep growing. Just asking y'all to stay encouraged too.
That's right. Because y'all can make it.
What you say?
Because y'all can make it. Yeah. So this is where we come to the end of our show. We didn't do a commercial, did we? But anyway, we come to the end of our show today. But I guess we didn't. But anyway, we still love the commercial person. But anyway, we hope that you have gathered something out of our nightly discussion on tonight. And that if you come back and you watch this, that you can even drop us some nuggets off of here. Like I said, come get you, withdraw from something that you can take, but then also leave a nugget that we can go back and that we can, gain some insight and some information. But like I said, don't look at somebody else's life and say, hey, it needs to be that way. Y'all's need to be that way. Find your own rhythm. I promise when you find your own rhythm, it really works a lot better. And just know that we don't have to be in that culture, as we've been trapped in of knowing that we can't make it and it's got to be the way they say it should be, this 50-50. But we need to learn that we are better together. And whatever that better together looks like for you, baby, make it do.
Hey, show that shirt. We can't see it because your name. Let me see it.
You can't see it.
What it say, honey? Okay, I didn't even see that, girl.
We all will force when we're together. You're right.
Yeah, I'm just saying we better together. And when we do that, we can change the world and we can change the way moving forward for the next generation behind us to see this. And to be quite honest, we can really learn from them because they have really did some major changes. Whether we raised them wrong or didn't know or have enough information, they doing some different things that we can learn from moving forward to change what we're already in. If you're already in a marriage and got it going, together, you can change it. If you want to move forward, getting into a new relationship, leading to marriage, I'm telling you, it is possible. And so that's my prayer, honey. Whatever that looks like for you, may God yield it unto you on tonight, and that you have a very strong pulse moving forward, and that you can share your stories with us. That's all I have. So we love you all. Don't forget to like.
Two sentences from the both of y'all. Yeah, 2 sentences from the both of y'all. Just to answer the question of the show. 50-50, or should men pay all the bills? How would you answer that in 2 sentences or less? 3 sentences. Because I think we did a whole lot, but if you have to sum that up.
It depends on what we got going on. It depends. The situation.
Mine is what works for you all. Roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
Roll with it. Right on.
Yeah,
that's it.
Depends on the situation.
Because you try to trip us up.
They the Royce new podcast, who want the smoke? Coming raw and uncut like who want this dope? Whatever you want, they for sure to cover the topic. From racial issues to fashion flies to cockpit. Y'all ain't never get it like this, cause they ain't never did it like this. We on our this the way the cookie crumbles for y'all. She gon' bring the inspiration to all. You know what's up with her. And this shit manifesting is a vision. And y'all gon' love TJ cause he the realest. From the heart of a mob, they the start of it all. You looking for a holler and holler at your rug. The professor, never lesson, coming at you with the lessons. Get your edge if you knowin' what's good for you. They educated, but they still keep it hood for you. Won't need another, this one here really do it for you.
Baby, the floor is yours.
Hey, that was the wrong outro, but it worked, right?
It worked. You done got all these up closes, boom, boom, pimples everywhere.
Hey, I appreciate y'all, man. Black women, I love y'all. We need y'all.
We love you too.
Yeah, cool.
We love you too.